Hey, Mistakes listeners, this is Dave, and I am actually speaking to you from a laundry room in downtown Anaheim. Anyway, long story short, my family's on vacation down here, and this is the only place that I could find privacy. Can you believe that? You probably can. Anyway, this week we looked at the show Uncle Grandpa. This would be episode 14, and we recorded this episode on August 5th, 2015. Yep, I'm in California, and that possibly means that Todd and I will be doing another show, not live, but once again together. Sit back and enjoy the show. So tonight, our format's a little bit different, isn't it, Todd?
A little bit different.
How's that?
Although I suppose for the listening audience, it probably doesn't seem all that different.
Well, it's different to me.
It is different to you.
Yeah, but I don't really listen to us. But do I? Yes, I do.
Yes. Well, I listen to us too.
Do you?
Occasionally, yes. Anyway, so for those of you who do listen to us on occasion or don't listen to us, this won't really make a big difference, but we'll tell you anyway. So Dave lives in Seattle.
Yes, I do.
And I live in Los Angeles.
Yes, he does.
We both grew up in the Seattle area, went to high school together. Tonight, whatever.
This evening,
I'm actually in Seattle. So we're doing a in-studio
podcast.
Yes.
I'm actually looking, well, I usually look at you.
Yes.
But I can actually, how about this? I can touch you.
That's not really what the people need to hear.
Okay, but
it's not really what we're going
well,
for.
usually I'm looking at you, but
Correct.
I just, it's miles away.
So this is, again, one of those things that none of you care about, but we usually do this on Skype.
Right.
We will talk about this, and we'll talk about our shows and record it and then upload it, and Dave does, Dave's the sound engineer for this podcast.
I am.
We have a really, really extensive team of people working with us. Dave's the sound engineer. Anyway.
Oh, dear. Okay.
So, should we just get right to it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're a little off the cuff tonight, but that's okay. As if we're really rehearsed ever.
Yeah, well, the point is to be off the cuff. This is a special show for us, and it should be a special show for you guys as well. And this could kind of be, it's out of circuit. It's out of rotation for us. So
it is out of rotation.
We're doing something special tonight.
But that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we're still doing a show.
Yeah.
And we're still giving our thoughts from a parenting standpoint, whether this is appropriate content for children or what type of children, that sort of thing. So, we...
at the recommendation of your youngest daughter.
Well, no, I don't know if it was a recommendation. She had mentioned this, like she knows what this is. She hasn't actually watched this show.
Okay.
And I had seen this title bouncing around. Anyway.
Was this one of the People's Choice or Kids' Choice ones?
Sure, we'll just... Okay. No, it's not a Kids' Choice Award. I know that.
Interesting. Okay, all right.
Anyway.
Wouldn't surprise me.
All the people listening are like, get to it.
Right, exactly.
Okay. All right. So we watched an episode of Uncle Grandpa.
Yep.
Which is on the Cartoon Network, and it is a show that is currently in production. It's currently running. I believe it's in its... Oh, see, this is where we're going to get into trouble, because we didn't do a ton of research on this one ahead of time, but we just watched a episode.
Yeah.
So it is in its second or third season. I think it's in its second season.
Yep.
Right now. Another one of these shows that have short episodes.
Yeah, so we decided to do another 10-minute burst episode tonight. These, like what I like to call them is popcorn shows. Like, I can just sit back and just kind of relax for 10 minutes and just be entertained.
Right. So, an 11-minute show. So, normally what we would do at this particular juncture is I would give sort of a brief synopsis of what the show is about. And I'm going to need some help here.
Sure.
Because I don't know if I really know what the show is about.
Well, but okay, so pulling on previous podcasts where we've seen sort of this crazy, fast, kinetic type of show, again, I'm saying it's that popcorn show. The best comparison I can make to you is, again, Teen Titans Go.
Yes.
And then we watched Gumball. Yeah, The Amazing Adventures of Gumball.
Correct.
And this is very similar, or it's in that vein.
So the basic characters in this show are Uncle Grandpa, And again, we get a lot of information from Wikipedia, and that's okay. Wikipedia is a good starting place for research, not a good ending place for research.
That is very correct.
Yes.
And to be honest with you, again, public service, our research is actually watching the show.
Correct.
It's our first and only experience with the show, as if we were sitting down to watch it with our children.
So we'll always give the caveat and the sort of blanket apology that if we get information wrong, it's innocent. So
Yep.
if we get the characters wrong or the history wrong or that sort of thing, okay? We always are watching with the sort of lens of a parent who may be introduced to a show by a kid in a short period of time.
Yep.
He has to make a decision after watching a show.
That is correct.
So Uncle Grandpa, who is described as a babysitter, which is interesting after watching this episode, who is the uncle / grandpa and brother / dad of every child and adult in the world.
Well, but okay. So again, the authority figure is a nut bar. Another common theme that we found, right?
Correct.
This makes complete sense. And as far as all of our viewing so far, the leadership is incompetent.
Right. Well, and in this particular one, I don't even know if there's a hierarchy of leadership. I mean,
No.
Okay, so I'll give you the rundown of, and this will give you a sense of what the show is about, even though it won't. So there's Uncle Grandpa. We also saw Belly Bag,
Belly bag.
which is a talking
Fanny
red
pack.
fanny pack,
Yep.
which Uncle Grandpa wears. There is Pizza Steve, which is a anthropomorphic talking pizza slice with sunglasses.
I loved him.
Yeah, Pizza Steve was pretty funny.
He's the highlight of the show for me.
There's Mr. Gus, a
Right.
large green dinosaur.
Or dragon. He did.
Well, it says he's a dinosaur, but he's
Okay,
got some
yeah.
dragon type things.
Yeah.
And then there was a character which is labeled, I'm just reading this straight off the list here, Giant Realistic Flying Tiger,
Right.
which is a static photographic cutout of a tiger. So
Yes.
you've got these 3 animated characters that are running around.
To date, probably the best sight gag I've seen
And
on
then
any
you
of these
and then
kids
you
shows.
just got this tiger that just sort of appears and
Right.
roars and...
But we'll get into that. We'll
Okay.
get into that.
All right.
We don't want to ruin it now.
Well, I feel like we got to give this basic explanation, and it's just, I don't know. It's randomness. It is just straight up randomness.
No, there was a plot to the show.
Okay, so the basic plot of this one, this particular episode was called The Package.
Again, I think personally that Gumball has helped us a lot here because now I'm more versed and trained in these crazy sight gag shows.
Okay, fair enough.
Right? Because I'm like, this is just going to come at us as fast and as hard as it possibly can with as many sight jokes as they can get in.
Right. Okay, by the way, this is Season 2, Episode 8.
8.
So, in this particular episode, Uncle Grandpa, apparently, and the dinosaur and Pizza Steve
Yep.
and the tiger live in an RV.
They do.
And they have a package delivered to them. And for whatever reason, and it is not explained, they are unable to open
The package.
the package. And they try everything. They try the standard...
Actually, you can stop right there. That's the entire plot.
Okay, that's the entire plot.
They receive a package. They
spend
cannot
that.
open it throughout the entire episode.
And they try everything
That you could ever imagine.
fictional and non-fictional.
Yeah,
Everything.
that's right.
Everything from table saws to missiles to whatever.
Yes,
And they cannot open the package.
And it starts slow, quote unquote slow, and continues to accelerate from there.
Yes.
It's as simple as let's try to peel the tape back to we're going to be taking when I want to say hammerhead shark, what is that? A saw shark or a sawfish? They're using a
Yes.
sawfish to literally try to
it.
open this thing.
Yes.
It wouldn't surprise me if they threw a hammerhead. If they wanted to, they would have. And that is basically the premise of the show. What did you like?
Okay, so some of the humor, again, it's funny. Some of the jokes are funny.
I have to say, little caveat, because we're both in the same room, I found myself laughing because I'm with you, because some of the jokes are a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
There was an audience factor this time. I wasn't just sitting watching the show by myself. It was like there's like an audience reaction to the show, which is a whole new element for us, and I hate to bring it up, but I know that I laughed hard at a couple of jokes and I'm like sitting next to you, you know?
So this is yet again one of those things where you look through the lens of yourself, which is always the way you look through. But when you're thinking about being a parent, you look at it through the lens of the child. Now, you can't necessarily look through that lens because you have forgotten what it's like to be a 6-year-old or an 11-year-old or whatever. But you think differently. Yep. And every parent understands this. Every responsible parent understands this. That you start to think about everything differently because you think about how to impact your kids. I'm watching this show right now, again, with you, but I'm thinking to myself, if I'm in college and I'm sitting around with a bunch of my college buddies, like, this is the type of show we're watching.
Right.
It's not, the word inappropriate is really broad.
Let me give you a red flag.
Okay.
Here is the first red flag that happened within the episode that I know that my 6-year-old would think was the funniest thing she's ever seen. And that is the fact that this pizza, the pizza slice, the anamorphic pizza slice, is sitting on the roof of the RV getting a suntan. And he is sitting on the satellite dish. The dinosaur turns on the TV, and he can't see his TV because the pizza is actually sitting on the satellite dish, which means it is so confusing. What it really was, the objective there was to basically show you that the pizza actually had a butt.
Yes.
Right? Like,
we saw a pizza butt.
Here is a pizza that has a butt. And the minute I saw that butt, bing, there goes my red flag, because I'm like, I know that my child, who loves bathroom humor right now, will go, I love this, Dad.
Right.
Where can I get that pizza? Because it's got a butt.
Correct.
And I can say butt all day long.
Right.
So I'm like, as a parent, I'm like, uh-oh, right?
Yes. And then you have characters so the Uncle Grandpa character is a strange looking character in and of itself, which is fine. I mean, we've got a dinosaur and a talking pizza slice, so why not?
Right.
But the Uncle Grandpa character seems to be able to pull his head off and have it sort of go flying around. And his arms sort of wrap around. I don't know.
He had to flip himself. They had to flip a coin. Like, who is going to open up the package at some point? And so Uncle Grandpa decides, okay. So when I say, okay, one thing we didn't talk about it right away was that this is designated PG, or TV PG.
Correct.
So I would say, again, my 6-year-old, who would find that hilarious, might find that a little bit disturbing. Or my 3-year-old, like, Dad, why did his head come off? Why did he throw his body? Why are they dismembered at some point throughout this episode? So there's a lot of disturbing imagery for the sake of comedy. Now, being an adult, it's just insanity and kind of fun. Actually, it's why I like the episode. I actually found the episode kind of fun to watch.
Yeah, and I think the hard part is when you get into this sort of parental mode, then you start to say to yourself, all right, am I even supposed to be enjoying this? I mean, you do. You can't help but laugh at some of the sight gags, some of the jokes. Just like a lot of other cartoons, the dialogue itself is sophisticated. There are some one-liners that you go, all right, there is no way a child would ever understand this. But as an adult, I get what they're saying, and it's funny.
So let's talk about my biggest red flag, which was actually the biggest gag in the show, and that happens to be when the lifelike tiger comes up, and his method of actually opening up the box is to put his rear end over the box and fart out a rainbow.
Yes.
Which immediately I started cracking up. Which typically these shows don't make me just outright just crack up. But it did. And I will say this, it would be really difficult then to tell my daughter that she couldn't watch this show. If she sat down and watched one of these shows, she'd be like, I have got to see that again. Because right now it's just pandering to everything that she just wants to see. Who doesn't want to see the farting rainbow tiger?
Correct.
Right? Or the tiger that farts rainbows.
I think my biggest challenge with this show is that it, as you said, it's just random chaos.
Right.
This to me is sort of the equivalent of, you know, if your child said, "Hey, Daddy, will you come and play with me?" and you run around the room screaming and just start throwing objects all over the place, right. And then go run around some more, and then start, chewing on furniture, and then doing somersaults. I mean, that's kind of visually what we're seeing.
Oh yeah, totally.
I mean, there is a plot, there are characters, there is dialogue, but it's just this frantic, chaotic, constant pace of just weirdness.
Right, there's no, yeah, you're right, you're talking about the plot. There is no moral to this, it's just, see, again, I think what I'm pinging off of, Todd, is that I'm pinging off that they're doing everything that my 6-year-old would love.
Yes.
Right? As a 6-year-old, who wouldn't want to watch this show, right?
Correct. And
but here's the question. Is it for 6-year-olds?
No.
No.
Absolutely
right.
not.
There's the mistake.
Right. That is the big mistake.
Yep.
I mean, I'd almost go all the way up to high school, if not college.
Sure.
Even older teens, you're sort of, and again, we could get into some other shows, and there are other shows that, I don't know if anyone would argue, things like South Park, things like Family Guy, that sort of thing.
Would definitely be a gateway drug.
We're heading directly in that direction. And we've seen this a bit with the Cartoon Network. The Cartoon Network it's got a fair number of shows that is just random, loud chaos.
Yeah, and oftentimes I think, is it outrageous? Is it in your face? Is it all these things? It reminds me a lot of 80s MTV. Like,
I suppose, yeah.
Let's just get it on the screen.
Right.
Just get it on the screen,
right.
And if they like it, great. If they don't, well, then we'll just try something else crazy and outrageous. And I feel like a lot of what we've seen with the Cartoon Network is just that. But I do believe that there is sort of like, but this will also lead to this. And I also like the fact that you brought up Animaniacs several times. Like, I feel like that show has set a standard for child/adult, this weird gray area of who should be watching this cartoon, right? I'm not saying that it started right there, but it feels like in college, there's a lot of us that were watching Animaniacs because there's a lot of hidden innuendo there that we love.
Correct. And maybe it's just sentimental attachment. I feel like the Animaniacs is way more intelligent.
Oh, sure.
This is just, let's just get out the silly string and just run around and scream and just spray it on everything.
Fart rainbows.
Yeah,
right?
Fart rainbows.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Do I go with an analogy? I don't know if I dare.
Well, you did last time, right?
Okay,
the garbage one where your mom is looking through garbage with you? Right.
So this is a subject I know nothing about. But
what, garbage?
No.
Okay. What's the subject?
I am not a recreational drug user. I've never been a recreational drug user.
Right.
I've never tried, drugs. I'm really glad I haven't. I don't plan on it. This show, from what people have talked to me about, or at least what people have said to me, this feels like an acid trip of some sort.
Well, a lot of these fast-paced cartoons are just like that.
I mean, again, I don't know what an acid trip is like. I don't want to know, but this to me is, or people that are on speed or something like that.
I'm sure you could get on YouTube and
I'm sure
someone's recorded, whatever.
Anyway.
But
final thoughts? Any mistakes?
Yeah, it's not for kids. I definitely watched the rating on this one for sure. Again, the red flags I bring up is that they are totally pandering. If Kayleen sat down, turned on Netflix or whatever, and started watching this show, and you just saw it off the cuff, you'd think, it's kind of a normal cartoon. Again, looks a lot like SpongeBob SquarePants,
right,
which I would say is a lot more kid-friendly and actually has a little more, believe this, actually a little bit smarter show.
Right.
But I think that would be a big mistake to just kind of let this fire and forget viewing. You would not want to do that here. In fact, I would not recommend this for kids. And I would say, too, that my daughters would go to school saying, hey, guess what? I saw a tiger that farted rainbows. Or, look at that pizza over there. I bet I've got a butt. Like all these things, they're just pandering to that particular group. And again, I could see it. I could actually see a parent saying, you're not going to watch this show again, and there being a lot of upsetness.
Correct.
Right? I want to watch more because they're just showing the things they want to show.
Yeah, I feel like this is made by people that just said, hey, let's just do some random.
Well, no, okay, I didn't say that right. They're just showing things that they know will get a reaction from their audience.
Correct.
Because that's reflected, again, in the plot, which there's pretty much none of.
Yes.
Other than here's where we're going, here's the direction, let's just try to get as many things out there
Right.
that appeal to our particular
Right.
audience.
We have one very simple plot point. That's it.
Yep.
And then the rest of it is just going to be screaming for 11 minutes.
So I can't say that. Okay, I laughed. I found it funny.
I found a few funny points too.
Yeah.
We're human.
I can't say that it's, we never say it's bad or the worst. We never say it's the best. I can't recommend it for kids, but hey, if you just want a 10-minute splurge of just funniness, you could totally watch a show and get a giggle out of it.
I guess you could. I mean, but to be fair, this and not like a lot of cartoons have a ton of, socially redeeming value.
Right.
This has nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, it is really nothing.
Yeah.
This is
You'd kill 10 minutes.
this is you with silly string and a can of whipped cream and just kind of messing around. It's got nothing. So yeah, there you go. Uncle Grandpa on
So,
the Cartoon Network.
can you talk more about our Facebook page? Because I don't think we've kind of mentioned it off the cuff, like what kind of effort you've put into the page.
Effort.
Well, yeah, you know what I'm saying. Like,
Okay, so we're all about the social media because we are really hip and happening people.
it's true.
It is. Okay, so we do have we'll start with the Twitter account. We have a Twitter account. It's Parent Mistakes, all one word. So we would like you to follow us on Twitter, and you can tweet at us.
And we'll follow you.
No, we won't, but that's okay. Because we're big time, We don't follow people.
Okay.
But we also have a Facebook page, and that is Parenting Mistakes.
Can we follow people there?
I don't know.
No,
we can't because it's a
Man.
thing. It's you follow a thing.
So pretty much
We don't follow back.
you have to follow us,
But-
which is a good thing.
But the good thing about the Parenting Mistakes Facebook page is you can leave comments.
Yeah, it's true.
So if you say, "Hey, Dave and Todd, you seem like nice people, but your episode was terrible,"
We want to know.
we want to know, and why it was terrible would be helpful too.
Yep.
But if you like stuff that we do, that'd be great. If you have shows that you'd like us to watch and evaluate, throw those on there.
This is our public service to America.
To the world.
Okay.
You're limiting yourself geographically
Sold. I'm there. To the
for the
world.
planet.
So there are actually a couple of French cartoons I'd like to view.
Okay, well
For
that would
sure.
be interesting because
Yeah.
neither of us speak French.
No, well, some of these cartoons don't have voiceover.
Oh,
They're just,
okay.
a bunch
You
of psych-
didn't take French in high school, did you?
I took Spanish.
I did too.
Yeah.
You don't speak Spanish.
I bet we could watch a French cartoon and get something out of it, though.
I think if we watched Uncle Grandpa in French,
we wouldn't.
we would probably get about the same amount of. We would. Honestly,
Talk to me.
we should have started with that. We should have said, if you watch this episode in French, you'll still get the plot. And you really won't miss anything else.
Okay.
So, all right.
I
So,
get it.
follow us on Twitter, Parent Mistakes, and follow us on Facebook, Parenting Mistakes.
Man, this has been so much fun just to be here in the same room with you.
See, we
and
should do this more often.
Absolutely.
You can come down to California next time. All right. That's it for this episode. See ya.